Hi, my name's Dion Ward, Kiwi expat living in Japan. I'm also a self-realization guide, so if that's your cup of tea and you're interested, feel free to contact me below in the comments box or on my website. The link is in the description. Maybe the biggest theme, or one of the biggest themes that you'll hear spoken of is the idea of the illusory life, the life of illusion that pulls us away from the path of flow or balance, or equanimity. What does it mean? Well, in a nutshell, it means we mistaken things such as the voice in the mind, the feelings, emotions and feelings in the body that usually arrive as a set or a pair and have their own meanings which the mind will spell out. Usually if it's negative, it'll be accompanied by a feeling that we don't like, a feeling of contraction or tightness or cold or heaviness, pressure, whatever it might be. But these are all based on belief. First of all, the belief that these things actually have some kind of power and that they mean something, which they don't. The mind will come up with recommendations, warnings, it'll rehearse situations for you. If this happens, I'm going to say that. If this person does this, I'm going to do this. Yeah. But it's nonsense. So all it does is put you in a very narrow focus, a very limited perspective when you do encounter situations like that. You'll get what you need if you trust the situation and you relax, be comfortable in yourself, just be quiet. I don't mean force feed yourself quietness, but start recognizing that the voice that you get up here, this voice that comments on everything, gives it a meaning and a value, tells you what you should and you shouldn't be doing, tells you what other people are, and tells you what other people aren't, and what you are and what you're not, and what you can do and what you can't do, and how good you are, and whether or not you're a success, and all these things, is not who you are. As strange as that may seem, as kind of woo-woo or out there as that may seem to some of you, I'm not sure, start looking at that voice when you're able. Observe it. Did you summon it? Did you stop it when it stopped? Can you maintain that voice? If so, how? I've talked before in another video about environment, the outer environment, the inner environment, how we sort of discern between the two. But what if it's all one environment? What if the outer environment, I don't control the weather, I don't control the seasons, the revolution of the planets, I don't control anything. So start observing yourself. That idea of control that you have, this voice, it has my voice, sounds like this, that works up here, that's me, right? That is me. What about when that voice stops? What about when you get a moment of silence? However fleeting it might be, how good that feels, how light you feel, how free you feel. when it's not jibber-jabbering away, telling you about everything and what everything means and what you should or shouldn't be doing and how you should and shouldn't be doing it. It's wonderful to start getting space, to start recognizing that that voice isn't what you actually are. It's as environmental as anything else in the universe. It happens by itself, in its own way, in its own time, according to patterns and according to beliefs, what you believe about the world and other people and about yourself. It just reinforces it over and over again. It's not evil. It's not an evil thing. It's not something to be reviled or resisted. There's a lesson in there. There's a way to be deeper, but it requires that you be conscious, or use the consciousness that you have when it comes, when you get clarity, and sit in your meditation in the morning, or if you don't meditate, take 5 minutes and sit and make a resolution to yourself of, I'm not going to try to do anything at all. I'm not going to try to move my body. I'm not going to try to think. I'm not going to make anything happen at all. I'm just going to be absolutely passive. I'm going to be utterly passive. But whatever happens, I'm not going to resist. I'm just going to let it happen and observe it. When you've decided that for yourself, this is, you'll start recognizing things that might astound you. This is one of maybe the most important identifications that keep us in bondage, that keep us locked in on a narrow interpretation of the world. It's the reason that we keep the same thing keeps happening again and again, the whole thing with karma, because we have certain beliefs which are deep, but they find manifestation and are reinforced by this constant jibber jabber, which is, it's just immediately identified with as being, oh, that's me, that's my voice. Well, it has your voice, but it's not you. And I don't want you to take my word for this. Do not take my word for it. Don't just say, oh, okay, well, he says that, so I want that to be true, so I'm going to take his word for it. Do the work yourself. Resolve in your heart to get to the bottom of it. You don't know if I'm an absolute charlatan or not. You want to know for yourself. So get to the bottom of it for yourself. Look for yourself. Do I operate this mind, this voice that's always chitter-chattering away? It's always going, it's on 24/7, and it's got something to say about everything. It throws in comments, it forecasts the future, which you get worried about. It bemoans the past, which you feel bad about, whether it was a received wrongdoing or a wrongdoing that you put upon someone else. These are some of the fundamental. You can also check the movement of the body. How do I move the body? How do I make this finger move? How do I make that happen? How does that happen? Work out the mechanism. If you're making that happen, describe to yourself the mechanism whereby that happens. How exactly are you making a finger move? For me, I would say these are the core 3 illusions that are identified as being something that represent me, something that I have control over. and that are true. My feelings, my thoughts, and my body. You can examine to find out what your relationship to these things really is. Now, I can go into detail on any of this, and I'd love to do so. If anyone out there is interested in hearing more, feel free to comment in the box below or via my website, however you like, and I'll go through it. I'll go through the steps whereby you can start to get clarity on these things. And if you can't get clarity on them, first time up, second time up, these are not things to believe. You do not believe these things. You might fancy them or you may not fancy them, but rather than being a spiritual aspirant or someone who's aspiring for realization or who wants this or wants that, make yourself, relabel yourself as a truth seeker. Relabel yourself as someone who is true. True to yourself. Don't take anyone's word for anything. You're just learning more stories. Do it for yourself.